All right. Good morning, friends, and happy Good Friday and Easter weekend to everybody. This is Aaron Asay, the Executive Director of Jase Response, also known as the Hobo Medic. And I'm coming at you live from blustery mountains of Utah, where we finally had some winter weather in April. But I'm okay with that because we really need it. We need the water. We're about to enter wildfire season. And this is going to help us not burn like the pits of HE double hockey sticks this summer, which I think is probably going to happen anyway because we already have fires burning all over the US and other parts. So today's threat assessment, I want to start with, there are some really cool, really great things happening right now. And I also want to pivot to, there are some not so great things happening right now about the threats that are facing us as American citizens today. So I'm going to start with the good. The first one is the big boy, which is the largest steam engine run by the Union Pacific, is actually making its way across the US and just entered Utah today. I really like trains, and this one is a really big, really cool train. So if you have a chance, go check it out. It's the big boy. It is an amazing, amazing feat of old time engineering, and it used to be one of the it's how this continent was basically established, was by these railroads. Pretty cool history. Secondly, we're on our way to the moon, and I think that's pretty cool. Artemis II, team of 4, and the team that's heading out there is making history. So we are about to go see send a team to the farthest out that humans have ever been in outer space. So I think that's pretty neat. And the other thing is, we're just coming up on Easter weekend. So for me as a Christian, it is a wonderful time of year and a time to celebrate the resurrection of our Savior, and also to just celebrate those values that we all love and cherish. Now, for the bad things, I'll just start with Easter weekend. ISIS has actually made an announcement to multiple locations around the world, really all of the Western nations, to their followers to burn churches and synagogues. Why synagogues, I don't know, but they don't celebrate Easter, but to burn churches and to wreak havoc and to create terror in the hearts and minds of citizens everywhere. So be extra cautious this weekend where you go and what you do with your family and by yourself. I've mentioned in all of these posts that you should be carrying a way to protect yourself, but also you should be carrying first aid supplies. So even if you aren't somebody who's carrying a firearm or a knife or some other kind of weapon that you could potentially protect yourself and your family with, at the very least, carry a tourniquet and some cotton gauze and an ace wrap, or maybe even your own little mini, individual first aid kit with you all the time, because you never know when you are going to need those supplies. And remember, the vast majority of the preventable illnesses come from massive hemorrhage. So just knowing how to stop a bleed, but also knowing how to clear an airway. Remember the universal sign of I'm choking and I can't breathe. Know how to clear that and know how to perform CPR. So being prepared for attacks like these is important, but also remember that we have the universal threats that are here all the time, and that's from natural disasters. We are heading into tornado season. Right behind that is hurricane season. We're still kind of coming out of winter when we have blizzard and cold season and ice storms. The best way to prepare for those is do a little risk assessment of your own. Figure out which of those natural events happen most often in your area, and you can even just Google. If you live in an area that the biggest risk is earthquake, then Google, how do I prepare for an earthquake? I would tell you, always carry in your car a pair of shoes that you can walk a long ways in, and always have a bag in that car that allows you to carry water and some food and maybe a few extra supplies while you're walking that long ways. Because in an earthquake, the chance of not being able to take whatever vehicle you are in back home is much higher than in other events. That would kind of be the same for flooding, except you can kind of figure out where the flooding happens, and so be able to figure out alternative ways home. But with earthquakes, you just never know. It could be down power lines, it could be cracks in the pavement, it could be roads or bridges that have fallen in, and it just makes it impossible for you to get home. I did forget to mention, in going back to terrorism, we still have the risk of cyber attacks. So you should always be looking at ways that you can increase the security of your cyber posture. But also, we are heading into one other major season, and that is riot season. So knowing where those riots occur, knowing where mobs will form, knowing what weekends, this might be one of them, where you have demonstrators and protests forming, and just stay away from those areas. If you're one of those people that likes to be around that and kind of see what's going on or even participate, again, be prepared for those things by carrying some first aid supplies and a few tools in your backpack, like some water, that will help you in those situations that you might find yourself in. When I was living in Venezuela a number of years ago, I actually ended up in riots and demonstrations frequently because of the work that I was doing down there. And so I carried around with me in my little bag. I was always in a nice clothing, shirt and tie. And all of my ties were stained because I would have to douse them in vinegar, and that's what I would use when we would get pepper sprayed. Whether or not that works, for me, it worked. I would put it in my eyes and my nose, my mouth, and it allowed me to breathe and get out of the area. Remember, if you do happen to find yourself in a mob, in a group that's moving in a direction, go with the flow. And just like if you're in water, if you get stuck in a flood, rather than swimming against the current, or rather than pushing yourself against the current of the mob, angle off to the side until you get to a safe place where you can jump into a doorway or an alleyway or something and actually get out of that flow of people. People get killed in mobs all the time just from being crushed or trampled on. General preparedness, having your home ready for power outages, for loss of water supply. I actually live in an area that's up on a mountain where the water has to be pumped up. So we maintain a supply of water in case those pumps ever run out, which if we lose electricity, that would happen. But also being able to clean water by boiling. So if you've got an alternative source of heat that you can cook with, but also making sure you have a little bit of extra food around your home, and making sure that you've got some security. And I recommend one of your number one preps should be getting to know your neighbors and making friends with those people who are nearby, whether you're in an apartment complex or you're on a rural neighborhood. Just getting to know those people around you, making friends with them, and figuring out how you can work together to make your community more safe and be able to interact with each other in the event of something happening. So thank you for listening. Jase is invested in preparation and getting you ready for any of the crises and disasters that might befall us in the future. So being prepared with medications, being prepared with supplies, and really knowledge, just knowing what to do. So thanks for tuning in and listening to us. There will be more coming next week. Be safe this weekend. Happy Easter.